Flex Luther, Morgan Snicker Room. So much soul, about to bust out the room. All different flavors, way more than 32. Come with these shoes, you can't mess with these dudes. Nike Reeboks, the bounce out the knees. Golden Goose is on dude.
What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Soul Brothers, hosted by yours truly, Flex Luther, and none other than Morgan Snicker Room. Today, guys, we are blessed with a guest, Mr. TaylorMade. What's up? What's new? And how you feeling, my guy?
Man, I appreciate you guys having me on. I feel like this is long overdue. Funny thing is, I checked out a few of you guys' episodes before I came on, so I'm really excited, man. I'm excited to get into these questions, bro.
I like it. Well, I'm gonna come in hot, man. How you do it? Your style is insane. I mean, I've always told you that from like day one. Like, I'm like, bro, you be doing it. So I need to know how when you go in the lab, what are you doing? What's the recipe, man?
I really feel like a lot of people ask me that question. They'll say, like, do you start with the hat first? Do you start with the shoes first? Or do you start with a piece? And I kind of feel like I just think in color, which is kind of like a double entendre, right? Because what's the other way? You go think of black and white, but I mean, in real life, I just really use color theory a lot. Like I look at colors in a way that probably most people don't. So like I'll look at something like, for example, everybody doesn't like the I'm on my year fours, right? Or people kind of are a little bit touch and go on it. But I look at that shoe, and that was like the post I did, today. It was like I really leaned into, hey, this is a shoe that's like a really unique, nuanced shade of purple. Essentially, it's like a very, very light purple. Yeah. So like, find a complementary ways to like use earth tones to really pull that color out and let it speak for itself. So it's like, I think when I approach an outfit, it's like, if I have a statement piece or I have a shoe that's kind of weirdly nuanced from a color perspective, the color wheel is my best friend. I consult it pretty much for every fit I put together.
Okay, I need help from you.
Okay.
'Cause I mean, I be dressing, right? We all know this. Yeah. But how do you use a color wheel? Like, how do you use it in a way that's like more than basic?
Yeah. So like, I mean, I think like when most people talk about color theory, I mean, you hear monochromatic, triadic color schemes, where you're kind of using different colors in different ways. Like I've always learned, like if you're looking at the color wheel, right, colors that are across from each other are complementary, you know? So I think that's something, if you're ever dressing, like think about it from that perspective. So for me, I've always liked earth tones because that's going to be your greens, your browns, your yellows, your reds. I feel like those are things you can really manipulate easily. I think everybody always thinks of green, brown, or red only for Christmas time, which ugly sweater season, when it comes upon us, it's a dope time of the year, but I feel like you could do so much more with that. And then in understanding color theory, then you can employ color blocking. So it's like, how do you separate, like, how do you stratify these colors? So like if I have a green hoodie, am I throwing on brown cargos or carpenters or double knees, or am I going the jorts route, or maybe I'm going like the trouser route? And I think like there was a sound I think on Instagram that I think is like really, really helpful too from a fashion perspective. Is like if an outfit isn't interesting by color, it has to be interesting by shape. And if it's not interesting by shape, it has to be interesting by dimension. It's like, I think people hear this stuff a lot and you don't think about it. Like it's it's like the Mandela effect. It's weird. Like you hear it so many times to where you're like, why am I saying this so much? Yeah. So I would definitely say, like, in using the color wheel, I always say, like, if you understand complementary colors, it unlocks like a whole different way of looking at color. For sure. Yeah.
I'm big on like, if I'm going to have, like you said, interesting by color, I like patterns, right? Like I want to have one piece that has patterns. I'm big into the real tree camo. I've got so many different like real tree camo pants now, and just thrifting different countries like camouflage and stuff like that, just to have an interesting piece. And so I think that's really interesting. One of the things that I do that's kind of like a cheat code, because like I've known, like I hear people talking about the color wheel, like frugal aesthetic, and I know he talks about it a lot. Are you familiar? You're familiar with frugal aesthetic?
Yep, I am. Yeah, I am very familiar.
I know he's talked about it a lot, and I'm just like, okay, I hear what you're saying. I'm just not familiar with how to use it. I go with like teams. Like what are like NFL teams, NBA teams, MLB teams? Like what color patterns are they using, like what color schemes are they using, because the smart people have already done all the work to figure out what goes together, right?
Yes.
So that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, and I feel like I think a guy that should get a lot more credit in just that color theory experimentation place is J Tips. I had a chance to meet him like about 3 years ago now. This was before he was doing stuff for Saucony, and he was doing stuff with Hat Club. And I think like he made an Atlanta Braves hat that was like a specific shade of purple that was just unique to me. Like we had never seen that. And just like so watching him develop, and even with the Saucony collabs, I told him this like the last time he was here for Wish for a pop-up. And I was just like, dude, I feel like your shoes actually make me much more like as a content creator, especially from a style aesthetic perspective. Like it challenges me to not look at color very linearly. So like use everything, like from, you know, like use different aspects. So like the fit that I did with his Omni Pro Grid 9s, the tan pair, like I feel like that was like a fit in particular where like I have this hat that's like psychedelic, like has all these colors in it. Shouts out HMDDLA. And I'm like, okay, I know this goes with the shoes, but how am I going to fill the gap in between?
Yeah.
And then it was like kind of almost like using color theory and the sandwich method simultaneously to kind of say like, okay, what am I going to go for bottoms or like shorts? You know, do I want to show off the shoes, or do I want the dimensions of like bagginess to kind of cover the shoes? But I think when I look at that fit in particular, I think that's like the best example I could think of not being afraid to experiment with color and get creative with it, get experimental.
Yeah, because like where I'm at with like looking at J Tips, his sneakers, I will sit there and look at the sneakers and see how loud they are and be like, yeah, this makes sense, but I don't know why it makes sense. You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? And like having that much control and command over color is even, I mean, you talked about the Amaminer 4s, which I love. I love the new ones. That and the 3s. I just got the 3s that came out, and this is my first pair of Amaminer sneakers, but it's like, yeah, that color of purple is so unique, and it's different and it's cool. Like we've just like never seen it before. And with me, I get excited with stuff like that. It's like, how am I going to make this work? That's why I love the J Tips, because it's like I saw it as like a challenge, like not a challenge, but like when I make these go, like when these go, they're going to go.
Yep. I mean, it's different. I mean, I think, like I said, I tell him all the time, it's like his approach. And I mean, and I think that's really the thing, I think, is sneaker culture in general. I hope that this generation starts to get more of. It's like you have those one-on-one FaceTime opportunities with a designer or a person that's actually responsible for, like, even if they didn't pioneer the silhouette, like we're not going to have many, you know, Tinker Hatfields or, you know, even Steven Smiths or anything like we probably won't have that, a lot more of those people. Hopefully we do. But even if we don't, I think that, or Stan Smiths for that matter, like in that generation, that genre, it's like when you have a guy that's able to take a silhouette, and especially Saucony, because at the time where Saucony was, like, I didn't even realize that J Tips' shoes are actually the highest retail price point shoe for Sauconys. Like, it's like, so it's like you're kind of like, it's a double gamble, right? It's like, okay, is my namesake going to be enough to carry this? It's like, and having those like one-on-one fireside chats with guys that do this at a high level, it's like, ask those questions. Like, man, like when you're putting patterns together on that, remember who fronted, like what made you think about placement? Like, you know, you're putting a monochromatic globe on the back of the shoe. It's like, what made you think to do that? Or you're putting in purple laces with gray laces, and these are like round laces, they're not flat. Like what, like that's the stuff to me, like when I talk to folks that come up in my era, like that's the stuff we used to geek out about. It's like, why did the designer go this route? Why did they pick that? What was cool about that? And I think, like, I'm hoping that we get that excitement back, because I feel like that's kind of what's lacking right now.
For sure. What you're doing right now, because we still got to get to our what we were today, but I love what you're doing right now. Like as nerds in this space. We are romanticizing the design of sneakers, and I just don't think that happens enough. I don't think that I don't think people do that enough, right? Like, our love of sneakers goes just beyond like getting a fit off. It's like we love the design and the process, and we finally created or they've created a product that is just beautiful. With that being said, because I just remembered what I wore today. They're behind me. Let's go into what we wore today.
Okay.
Flex, you want to go first?
Yeah. Oh, before we get to that, but man, shout out to you because I came in joking about the
Me?
recipe and the science. No, I was talking to TaylorMade. So I came in joking about the science and the recipe for how to put the fit together, and you actually gave me a recipe. So that shout out to you for doing that.
What's the recipe? I should have been there earlier. Huh?
But no, man, shout out to you, man. You really be doing your thing, man. And it's crazy that you bring up the J Tips because there's only a few people that I watch when it comes to dressing, and you're one of them. So I'm like, when I seen his shoe, I'm like, man, I hope he gets his shoe because I want to see how he's going to style it.
Yeah.
Because me and Morgan are currently in a battle now to like the style of the shoe. So I'm looking for the pointers. So yeah, I'm looking. But
he needs all the help he can get.
with that being said, man, I wore the Union Air Jordan 1.
Great shoe.
Yeah, I love this shoe, man. Big fan of it. I just love how it's like bright but silent at the same time.
Yeah, that shoe's grown on me. It's grown on me for sure.
Super comfortable. Like this has got to be the most comfortable Air Jordan 1 I've put on my feet. But yeah, I mean, I love it for an everyday shoe. I love it as a shoe to style and kind of stick out, but it's also a nice little chill shoe because it's comfortable. But yep, that's what I had on feet today.
No, that foot, like, I think the one reason that I love that shoe so much is I remember the Footscape wave. So, like, how everyone's on the P600.
Waiting for it to come back.
Listen, man, like, everybody's heavy on the running shoe waves, so your P600s, your Pegasuses, your Romeros, but it's like, that Footscape era was like, it was like the Flyknit era. Like, there was so much good stuff happening around that time. So, like, that design detail was like a really dope homage to like that era of sneakers. So it was like, I remember when they showed it and they were just like, why did they mess up an Air Jordan 1? I'm just like, no,
like,
bro,
they don't get it right. that was my biggest thing. Like they all the criticism that came with that sneaker. I was like, okay, maybe it doesn't, like, right off the bat from an aesthetic standpoint, it's kind of strange looking, but they didn't understand what was going on, right? Nope. And they pretended they did. That's why I'm like, bro, just it's okay to just stop talking and like listen. It is okay to listen.
Yeah, it really is. It really is.
Right? Like it's okay. It'll work out. So let's talk about what I wore today.
Sure.
Speaking of crazy sneakers, I put on a couple different pairs of sneakers, but I realized halfway through the day that the shoes I was wearing I had already worn for this podcast, so I ended up changing into the Asics and Brain Dead Gel Nimbus 9. This is an incredibly ugly shoe, and I mean that in the most loving, affectionate way possible. This is one of those situations. This is an apricot colorway. And this is one of those situations where it's like, who authorized these colors to be put together in this way? And it works. Like, it works so well.
If you hit somebody wearing those shoes, driver's license needs to be revoked immediately, because I saw those, like...
Yeah, right? Like, exactly. Like, this... I mean, they're bright, they're loud, like, they're gonna make a statement. And yeah, super fire shoe.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of like some of the stuff that we kind of see from Teddy Santis and New Balance lately, like really delving into those, like using materials to kind of pull out colors, like the Interstellar New Balances that released not too long ago. But like, I like shoes like that. So that's pretty...
All right, what'd you wear today?
So what I wore today, since we're all kind of showing off interesting shoes, is the Division Stream Air Max 1 Oregon Ducks. So that's for the feather. Shouts out to my guy Shaka Brody, who I do recap with, because he's actually a University of Oregon alum. So if he sees this, brother, I made sure to wear your alma mater schools today. So
I love it.
yeah, I really like. I think my favorite detail of this shoe is actually the iridescent swoosh.
Yes.
When I first unboxed it, I didn't realize it until I looked at it in the light. I was like, wow, this is actually really iridescent. This is so cool. And like, I think every time I look at this shoe, like even like around the sock liner, like all of this stuff always just like makes me feel like, wow, like I learn a new design detail about it every time I look at it. But good. I like the fact we went translucent bottoms, good air unit. I just really like all the textures on here. Like every time I wear this shoe, I get compliments and people will stop me and be like, yo, what type of Air Max is that? These are super hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a sneaker you would like. I don't know if you've ever seen it before, but it is the Concepts 998. It's gone by two different names. You know what I'm talking about? The Mallards.
Yes.
The Mallards or the Golden Eye.
Oh my!
So they're both. I've seen it called both. I've thought of it as a Mallard.
Yeah, I've always called it the Mallard. Yeah.
Yeah, but on GOAT for some reason they're called the Golden Eye. But that has been an impossible sneaker for me to get.
Yeah.
It's so expensive, but that is, and there's a 999 that also has that same type of reflection, iridescence. So that's a fire shoe, super, super fire shoe.
Yeah. And I mean, I think like just all the Easter eggs on it. I mean, you know, the left shoe, you got the Oregon Duck on there.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, like I said, I always like the fact that it's like once a duck, always a duck. So for me, like we're talking about geeking out about shoes.
Yeah.
Like, shoes like that to me that have a story. I mean, in Oregon PEs in general, I mean, if you've read Shoe Dog, you know who Phil Knight is, you know the history of the Nike company in general. It's just, I feel like this shoe is just all of that rolled into one. So
yep, I like that. You know, I mean, have you checked out the Dunks? This, I think, releasing 10.5 and 10.11, I believe.
Yeah, so I saw like, I like, so AD Sneaks. I know he got his hands on a pair because I think he got his hands on the Air Max 1s that came out. So I think he got his hands on both pair, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So this one and the other one. I personally like this one. I think the other one's a little bit more like wilder and out there, but I think this was a little bit more calmer and tame. But I definitely feel like I'm gonna be real. I have a healthy appreciation for Dunks, but I think if you were to go through my collection, it's like I don't have that many.
That's where I'm at.
Yeah. It's like I appreciate.
What is your go-to sneaker model?
Go-to sneaker model for me, I say either Air Jordan 3 or Air Jordan 4. I think that I've always been a 4 guy, even before the SB4s. Like we're talking Pure Money 4s, Black Cat 4s, your OGs, you know, white cements, reds. I mean,
that's where I was when I was younger and my feet didn't hurt like they do now. I was a Jordan 4 guy through and through. We're talking like 2012 was one of the greatest years of my life. All those Jordan 4s that came out. So I still have a lot of those. Actually, I have all of those pairs except for the military blues, and I just got the 2024 military blues. Yeah,
I feel like the 12s just were better. I think the shade of blue was better, but I'm not horribly mad at the 2024s.
Okay, so did you have the 2012 pair?
I did, yeah.
Okay, so I feel like the material was way worse.
Okay, on the 2012 pair?
On the 2012 pair. What I've done though, I put it Crease Guard sent me some stuff and I needed to make some content. And so I ended up putting I put in a pair of Crease Guards for the because I got rid of the 2012 pair because they were creasing so bad. I didn't know what to do with them back then. I was still pretty fresh into like the actual sneaker collecting. Like I had sneakers, but it wasn't like a collection yet. And so it was too late. I put crease guards in these so that I can maintain that beautiful shape as long as I can. But you're right, the color is terrible. Not terrible. Let me go back. It's not terrible, but it's not as good as the 2012 pair. Yeah. But I imagine that over time, as it oxidizes, maybe we'll get more of a lighter. Who knows?
I'm hoping. I mean, I think that's the one thing about JB that sometimes I like, and sometimes it's like a love-hate relationship with when they do things.
Yeah.
Like for me, like I was one of those guys, like I was a big 11 guy, you know, still am. So like I was one of the guys like screaming, like we need cool gray 11s, like give us those, like, and when we finally got them, I appreciated it, but it's like, I came from that era of the sliding box, the carbon fiber insert, like.
Tell me about it. Tell me about it.
Like I want it.
that.
Like it should be difficult. It should be difficult to open this box. Like it should be loud. It should be extremely loud when I open this box, right?
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
everybody should know, right?
And then I'm opening an 11 box.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
that was the best part about buying a retro 11, man. You know, I want to know what that box is gonna look like.
Yeah.
And I didn't get the 2011 pair of Cool Grays that had a slide out box. I didn't get that one. So once this one released, I'm like, I'll finally get my slide out Cool Gray box, and they gave me that. I was just like,
and I'm like, and I get it, you know, like you're cutting back on materials and manufacturing, but I think that those are parts of the things that made collecting fun.
The experience, right? Exactly.
Yeah. Like I still have the Raging Bull 5 box, and I love the double decker box, and you know, like the bull eyes looking through like the kind of picketed, you know. Yeah, like I mean, I love packs like countdown packs, CDPs. I mean, even the history of flight pack that we got, which gave us the PTSO'ns, and I forgot the other number of Jordans that came in that
29.
Yeah,
29. Yeah.
So it's like stuff like that I enjoyed because it was like that was all an experience, and then those were maybe House of Hoops exclusive, so you had to go there to get that box. So like to me, that's where. And I'm gonna sound like the old guy yelling from the porch, but I feel like we're losing recipes. So I'm hoping that with Frank coming back, and also you know the leadership changes with Nike, that storytelling that we really
talk about that. So like Frank Cook coming back to Nike, and the CEO stepping down. Like I didn't realize both of those things happened in the same week. Like this, I just got just hearing you say that. Like I just got super optimistic about, because I didn't connect the two, right? Like I just got super optimistic about what's going to happen with Nike. Yeah, that's dope. That's dope. I'm excited about that.
Yeah, I feel like Nike probably right now they go through collaborators really, like when you really think about it, the most steady collaborator they've had in recent memory has been Travis. And I don't blame him. I mean, Travis has done great things for the brand. I mean, resurgence, of course, sneakers, the Mac attacks, you know, shout out to John McEnroe. I mean, what he's done with the reverse swoosh has been great, but I feel like they've had, like, to me, Jerry Lorenzo, I mean, crucify me for saying this, but I feel like the Air Fear of God 1 was like probably the best new Nike silhouette that we had probably seen in a very long time.
Yeah. I mean, we look back at Nike basketball, the things that they're, I mean, if it's not a retro with Nike, then people don't really want it, right? Like, and that is not where Nike should be. Nike should be focusing on the research and development side. They need to be the forefront of tech in sneakers in the game and making it functional and fashionable at the same time. And they've lost that. They are, they're banking on old models and spinning them a different way. And then on top of that, which you're talking about the Mac attack, and the court shoes and stuff, like tennis is having a moment, and they do stuff like bring back the Nike Tech, the ATC 2, Air Tech Challenge 2, and make it so freaking limited, right? Like, you know, that's a sneaker that I want. Like the head coach I work for, he wanted a pair, and he was like, yo, your only job this year is, he was kidding, of course. He was like, your only job this year is to make sure we get a pair of these. Yeah. And I mean, it was impossible. Neither one of us got a pair.
Yeah, I had to pay resale to get one, and now I'm in Atlanta, so I had to drive actually out to Gwinnett. So Gwinnett's not close to Atlanta at all. It's pretty much a 30-40 minute drive. So, you know, I spent a little bit over retail, but when I got there, it was just like having the shoe in hand. Like for me, it's a different experience, because I remember when Andre Agassi actually played in the 96 Olympics, and he had the Air Tech Challenge 2s on when he won here. So it's like, to me, again, it's like...
Hold on, bro. How old are you?
So I'm 30. So I'm like, so the 96 Olympics was around the time I was about 3.
Okay.
So like, well, the summer
Yeah.
games, because my birthday's in December. So technically it was like, I would have been like 2.5 at that point. But like what my parents did is like, my dad used to go down to the Olympic Village and he would like sell t-shirts and, like license plates.
Oh, that's dope. Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's
a
dope.
lot of times he would come back and he would have like cool things like in his scrapbook of just stuff he would see. Like,
yeah, I'm with you. Yeah.
yeah. So
That's
it's like,
dope.
so even like going back and seeing how much stuff was really going on here in Atlanta during that time. I mean,
Yeah.
Michael Johnson, doing what he was doing in the 400 and 200. I mean, it was just like, I feel like the 90s was just like that really, really dope nostalgic era for like sneakers I feel like if I could do it all over again, I definitely would have wanted to be an adult in the 90s, have my own money so I could cop shit like that. That to me would have been a dope time to be alive.
Yeah. Because, I mean, if you even look at the designs back then, like going back to Nike, they were not afraid to fail. I mean, they were taking so many risks with how they were using air, how they were just, different materials they were making the sneakers out of, like what kind of shank they were going to use in the sole of the sneaker, right? And now it's just like, well, shit, this worked before. Like, they gonna love this. You know what I mean? Let's change up the tone. Yeah, like, hey, let's change up the tone of blue we put on this sneaker. Like, they gonna eat it up. And what I like is that sneakerheads are, I don't want to say rebelling, but they're calling out Nike for what it is, man. It's like, we're not, I think we're smarter than what they're giving us credit for.
Yeah, so I agree. I think but again, you got to know history to be able to go back and forth about things. Like, to me, like, it's kind of like folks that read comics, but then go to watch Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's like, okay, there's some things I accept because it's a movie, it's an adaptation, so I can't really get too mad about certain things. But if I'm being real, like, there's certain things, like with certain shoes, like, people gonna hate me for saying this, but I'm gonna just say it. I do understand. I completely understand that the black toes that Jordan wore over his shoulder said Air Jordan on them before the Wings logo ever graced the shoe. I understand that. I will not be a person that's not a selling point for me to buy the shoes. Like,
I feel the same way. Same way.
It's like, there's so many other details and designs you could have done to make it game worn. Like, for example, the tongue on the black toe, if you look at the game worn shoes that MJ wore with the black toes, it's not a white tongue. It's a black toe. So if you want to make me feel like you're listening to me as a sneakerhead and someone that actually follows the culture, you could have left the Wings logo on there and made the tongue a black tongue. And I would have sat there and said, oh, yeah, somebody in the media is paying attention. They're listening. They're hearing us.
Yeah. I'll tell you, Kari, Sneaker Fetish, I know he's super excited about that black toe one. And I asked him what the story was, and he's gonna tell us the story on his own time. Yeah. But I'm just kind of like, it doesn't really do it for me, right? I agree with you, right? It's like another sneaker that I think about is the oh my gosh, the gray toe Jordan 13, right? Oh yeah, okay. Gray toe Jordan 13, and when they came back out in 2014, they had the whole tongue gray, and I was like, this was one of those non OG 13s that people had been like clamoring for, like the Chutneys, for example, right? Yep. And they bring it back out, and they got the whole daggone tongue gray rather than just the toe. And at that point, it was just kind of like, whatever. Like, why do we do this? Yeah. I mean, so it's crazy. I mean, but I think to that end, it's like the thing I'm starting to like is that I hope that we get more 17s, not just the lows, but I hope that we get more of like the college blue 17s. Yeah. The regular top. But then I'm also looking to see, like, I mean, Billie Eilish, we saw that she got her own 15. That was like,
all sale color, but I'm hoping we get the 16, so cherry woods,
Yeah.
gingers,
Yep.
you know, I'm hoping that we get stuff like that. So I'm happy to see that they're not restricting their gaze to just AJ 1 through 14, because I think, like we're saying, nostalgia sells it to a certain point, but I think people don't even understand, like, Tinker didn't stop making shoes at 14. Like, Tinker was still working and creating shoes beyond that point. So it's like, that's where I say again, like, if you love sneakers and you really love the culture and what it means, then you understand why certain things are important. Like, understanding that 15 through, pretty much 16, 17, like, these were shoes that Jordan actually wore on the court with the win.
Right.
So it's like, you appreciate, like, the different phases of MJ's career. So it's like, but I mean, we'll see. I mean, hopefully the Young Bucks, they get wrangled in.
I think we're starting to get them. I think we're getting them.
I think so.
For sure. Because, I mean, these young guys, it feels like they want to be part of the game and they want to do it right. There are some who are, they're trying to do their own thing, but I think it's also like I don't even want to say OGs, but like people in our generation. Because I don't think we're really OGs, but just people who grew up with it, who are more open to having the young guys join the community and be willing to teach, like this is why this is cool. It's okay to like what you like, but like, have a reason for it and stuff like that. So I agree.
Yeah. Gotta love it all.
Oh yeah.
I think it's interesting that you guys bring up like the nostalgia feeling, because for me, it's not really like that, because like late 90s, early 2000s, I was more into like gaming and wrestling. So like the AirTech Challenge, like when I seen that shoe, when I really start getting into collecting, I'm like, I don't like it. I'm on to the next one. Like I don't, because I fell in love with the design of the shoe, like the actual, like I'm looking at how this shoe looks. I'm not worried about who wore it or like the backstory behind it. That's what, when I got into collecting, I really wasn't worried about the backstory. I was looking more in the design, the color, how it looked. So I seen that shoe, and it was kind of like that off red, infrared type pink stuff. I was like, I'm good. I don't want that. So like, it's for me, the AirTech Challenge is like, I can go the rest of my life without it in my collection. Now, if I can get it for a steal, cool. But like, apparently with the release that we just had, I'm not gonna get it for a steal. So
now look for the 2014 pair. That's what I did. I look for the 2014 pair.
I'll wait and get it later on. But I mean, I think it's unique that we can, I think all three of us come from a different type of upbringing when it comes to sneakers. But at the end of the day, we still come at like the design, the backstory, and we talk about the black toe. Like, I'm actually a fan of when Jordan Brand gives us different details or a different rendition on a classic, but not too crazy. Like, don't change like Morgan said, like, give us an all gray tongue like that. I don't like. Or you give us the black cements, and this is what they had, the red gold black cement, like that. I'm not a fan.
That was whack.
I'm not a fan of that. Yeah, but like if you give us a leather flu game or a suede flu game or a leather bread for it, then I'm like, okay, I'll take that. I like that because then we can keep the earlier pairs covenant. Like, the 2014 pair wasn't leather, it was suede. So it's like, okay, I can still put that in my collection because you kind of, you're happy that it retros, but at the same time, it's like, bro, I've been following this 2013 pair for like the last 5 years, and now it's like I still want a 2013 pair. Like, I want something different. I want that to be different, so I can still grab that 2013 pair.
Right. Right. Absolutely.
Back to the way you put things together. Like, again, you spoke of that J-Tip shoe, and I think it's, how can I put this? I love the way that you would take like a bright fit, but you blend it together so well that it doesn't look bright. Like your alma mater, the pants that you have on with the flowers and stuff. And I'm just like,
hold on, the what? What with the flowers?
Anyways, and if I seen it on, if I seen it on another content creator, like those pants would be just like the pants. The flower. It don't matter what materials. We just know it's a flower graphic.
Are you trying to say tapestry? Is that
there
what
you
you're
go,
trying?
man. Yeah, thank you.
We got a clip, ladies and gentlemen. We got him.
he must forget I'm the editor. But you think you? Nah, but
That'll never see the light of day.
nah. You know, we'll put it out. You know.
Oh yeah.
But like I said, like if I see it on another content creator, it's kind of like they use that as their centerpiece of the fit. So it's just always. I don't even look at the shirt and the shoes and everything because the pants are overtaking the fit. But somehow you blend it all well together while I'm actually looking at, okay, he got this hat on, he got this jacket on. You know what I'm saying? Like when you're going with something like that, with something that has a lot of graphics or bright colors or something that's very, stands out. How do you like? What's your approach with putting a fit together for that?
So I'll definitely say for that fit in particular, I already do. So that jacket is like mohair, right? So that's the material.
Mm-hmm.
So, so when the cardigan was mohair, it's mohair sweater. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, I have floral pants. The pants are kind of flared at the bottom, so it can really kind of accentuate the shoe. So it's like, I can't, like, I think one thing that some content creators feel is like statement piece, statement piece, statement piece, statement piece. And it's like, it's a whole bunch to look at and to digest. Now, if it's done intentionally, I'm not mad at it. Like, the J-Test fit I told you guys example. So I'm wearing the Supreme Tiger varsity jacket. It's brown. If you go back and look at that fit, every single color that's in the actual hat, like the floppy hat that I'm wearing, is reflected throughout the entire fit. Like every single color. There's not a color that's missing. So it's like, that's a situation where I have the Tyler the Creator Supreme tee underneath the jacket. I got on some Cortez, more so like George, and then I got the slouch socks on with the shoes, and I have the hat, and then I have the shades. It's like, so to someone looking at that fit and not paying attention to color, it looks like he just put a whole bunch of stuff together. But when you really sit and digest it and pick it apart, it's like, oh wow, like every single color hits, like it matches, but it doesn't traditionally look like matching. What we're used to, like dressing off the mannequins. So I think going back to the My Year 4 fit, I think I really the one thing I wanted to do is I didn't want to overpower the viewer. So white t-shirt was cool. Minimal sometimes is good. It allows you to color block things. You got plants, flora, fauna in the pants. Mohair is green. It looks kind of like grass to me in my mind. So I was like, okay, bet. I have a grassy cardigan, white shirt underneath, so very minimal layer. Transitions to the pants. It helps the eyes like following it aesthetically, and it makes sense. Now I'm going to the shoes that are a lot lighter, but if you look in the pants, there's an orchid that's in the pants that actually has the same color as the shoes. And then like the outsole, or really like I guess you could say the toe cap going into the outsole has that like burgundy, deep maroon. But if you look inside the orchid, it has that color as well. So it's like I'm picking and choosing the parts of the fit that accentuate the shoes. So I'm kind of like, it's kind of like being a conductor of like a brand. It's like I'm actually making the viewer pay attention to what I want them to pay attention to without me physically walking you through the fit. And I feel like those outfits work out the most 9 times out of 10.
So I like to think that I PTSO. I put that stuff on. And so
you are sadly mistaken.
No. Listen.
Look. Hold
on.
Before you finish.
Here we go. Because we could talk about your outfit right now with that black nasty on with that.
Look, man, I'm chilling. I'm chilling. Nothing that I wear on the pod is like something I actually go out and put together and wear. This is not putting on. This is putting it down. It down. But you know what? I'm gonna be honest with you, Morgan. I actually do enjoy your fits. I actually do.
Okay.
But it needs a little more razzle dazzle.
Hold on. Let me finish what I was about to say.
Besides your dancing moves, we don't need that.
Listen. So listening to you talk about how you put these fits together is like a master class. Like this is like graduate level, like graduate level understanding of PTSO'ing, right? Yeah. See, I wasn't even going to hate, right?
I didn't say it.
Nah, you. Never mind.
No, it's like, but I think that like the funny thing, Morgan and Flex, that I get that a lot where people ask me like when I start things, what do I think about? And it's like I really like it's the answer everybody hates to give, but it truly depends. It's like sometimes I'll take a fit, and I'm trying to think of something that's like very nuanced that people probably wouldn't have really thought of. So like, okay, I'll give you a perfect example. I'll actually give you a sneak peek of something that no one is seeing yet. It's probably going to drop sometime later on this week. So, I'm a big hip hop fan, 90s hip hop fan in particular. So, you're talking boom bap, you're talking Wu-Tang, you're talking Nas, Jay, obviously obviously named a whole bunch of East Coast artists, but I have love for the West Coast as well. So please chat, don't try to cook
I
me.
don't. I like East Coast. I'm be real.
So for me, like a big thing is like Griselda kind of is more of like that era of like hip hop that's like kind of resurged and kind of become a lot more popular. Same could be said about drill, as far as like drill has always existed, but I think it's just kind of resurged and become a bigger thing in musically now because it's the wave mainstream. But Wes always puts out a lot of pieces, unique pieces to, Griselda and what he does, fourth row, everything, from that vantage point. So there's a hoodie that I have from, And Then You Pray For Me, the album that he dropped. And I'm a big fan of like how Wes puts stuff together. I'm not a big designer guy, but I do like and appreciate how sometimes he dresses really audaciously, but it's tasteful. And this piece that he had was the Mona Lisa wearing all of this ice around his neck. So I have found a beanie, and I'll show you guys the beanie. It's a scorpion. So if you know, that's obviously one of the signs for Griselda, scorpion. The hoodie itself is black, red accents, and the Mona Lisa is very much still in that Renaissance type of color. So it's that same brown. So now this is a perfect example of I'm using an accessory to kind of tie in something that I'm doing, but it doesn't really hit you at first because it's like, I'm color coordinating, but I'm also kind of subconsciously storytelling if you're really paying attention. And then, I'm putting these with it. So Louis V, like most of the time you'll see Wes with like Louis Vuitton shorts or a jacket with like a very minimal piece somewhere else. So again, it's kind of showing levels of you're stratifying an outfit, not just on the lines of expensiveness, but also in color theory, storytelling. I think the word that you could use, you say graduate level. I just thought of this word, like zeitgeist of the outfit. Like, what is the theme? Like, what are we talking about? So that,
like, what's the lore? Like, what's the lore? Yeah.
It's like, because to me, that's what makes, dressing fun. Because, like, when I talk to someone that's, like, in the same space that I am, and they pick that apart, and they're just like, oh, shit, I really fucking like what you did there. That's crazy. It's like, that gets me, like, excited, because it's like, I was dressing for myself, but someone else found a connection. And it's like, and I feel like most people, when you put fits together, it's about expensiveness. It's about, I have these Ricks. And because Rick is the in shoe, I could throw whatever baggy pants, insert whatever fast fashion brand company here. Or I can do this trend of small jacket, big pants, or small shirt or big shirt, big pants, like, it's like, I try my best not to dress like that. It took me a long time to just do jorts with outfits because I didn't want to look like everyone else. But then I took that point of saying, okay, like with the fit I did with I think I had the 1996 Olympic snapback on, had a purple jacket. Underneath was like an actual Olympic shirt, Gerbeau jorts, but they're not the MFG strapped, but they're just the regular jorts. Like, people don't even understand that Gerbeau actually had jorts that were not the strap MFG. Actually other jorts that existed before that. So it's like, to me, I came from that era of like when you were outside and you talked to people that understood and really knew fashion, like them looking you up and down was not just you can coordinate. It was like, what do you know?
What do you do?
What can we talk about right now? And I feel like that's why, like, I take it so seriously. And I think people will ask me that all the time. And it's like the lore and the knowledge and the storytelling and me soaking up game from like looking at guys before me, that were putting that shit on all the time. Like, I think that to me is what makes me feel, I guess, vindicated or even just validated in that outfit space. It's like, you might be able to color coordinate, but do you understand why these shoes or this lore is important? you know why this shoe is cool. And I think, like I said, it's conversations with outfits. It's unspoken, nonverbal, dope ass conversations you could have with outfits. And that's what gets me like hype.
Yeah. And like what Flex said earlier, right? Like he said, I need more razzle dazzle. Is that what you said?
No razzle dazzle.
Bro,
look.
It's like I'm not even thinking about my outfits that way. I'm just like, because I mean, first of all, I'm in Indianapolis, so like,
Okay,
it's low hanging fruit. But I'll throw something on. I was like, okay, I got a statement piece. These colors are interesting. Let me just throw on some stuff that's interesting. Maybe it goes together. I'm less concerned about matching than I've ever been in my life.
I can tell. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Bro. What did I do? What did I do?
What's happening?
You mad about what I said about a sweatshirt? You know, I got the same one.
Oh, not
I got the same one. But anyway,
I did not care. Go ahead.
So, like, I like just, damn. See, now I lost my train of thought because my feelings got hurt. But like the way you talk about it, man, and like the way you think about it is just, I mean, I'm gonna say it again, man. It's like it's romantic. It's romantic the way you talk about it and the way you go about how you put stuff together, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's really impressive, and you know what I like. One of the things that you said that I really liked is it's about having a conversation without having a conversation, and that's how I feel about sneakers specifically, right? Like I throw these on, right, and if you don't know, it's just like those some ugly ass Asics, right? Like, bro, like don't wear those again. But if I hear in the wild, like, hey, bro, I rock with those brain dead Asics, bro. Like, I will stand there and have a 45-minute conversation with you, right? And it's just like how dudes will like just name random football players. Like, I'll do that with sneakers. Like, yo, did you ever get the whatever, right? Like, it's the same thing. So, yeah, the way, I think more people need to check you out. I don't even know what is your like follower count.
So I just crossed 60K earlier this month, and that kind of was like, that kind of happened around when I released my second and third hats for Hat Club, because I collaborated with them on that. But like, even then, like, I think I've been doing this for a long time, but you know how social media is. You're not a somebody until another somebody says you're somebody.
Right.
But I was like you, like, I would geek out about this type of stuff. Like, I read Shoe Dog. Like, I had the big book of, like, the big picture book of sneakers, and like, I will go through it, and like, even shoes I didn't like, you know, like Shocks or, you know, other things like that, like shoes that were out there are different. I think that I just grew up in that era where it was like, dude, I grew up around guys that wore Diodoras. I grew up around guys that wore Saucony before Saucony was what we know it to be now. Or, I mean, shit, Dadas. I mean, I'm culturally relevant enough to understand and remember that time. Spinner shoes, like, you know, like, these are shoes Latrell Sprewell was wearing when he played for the New York Knicks. I mean, like,
so, you can't name athletes with Flex. You don't know athletes, but
I mean, but like, to that end, it's like, I think that it's really dope. Like, even remembering how Shaqs were like that conversation piece shoe, in the sense of, like, you had Jordans, you had other signature shoes for athletes, and you had Shaqs. And I think it's really cool that even Shaq culturally now appreciates and understands what his shoe did for the culture at the time, like Starberries and, you know, all these other types of like
Strawberry.
so it's like, when
that's go ahead. No. Yeah, because like now it's like everybody has to wear the same thing. When we came from a culture of everybody was wearing something not different, but like there was so many more valid sneakers.
You don't know about these. You don't know about these. That was that. You don't know nothing about this. You don't know nothing about this. That was your flex right there. They didn't care. You didn't really care about how much it cost or like who. It was more like, you don't know nothing about this. And if a person did know, it was kind of like, okay, I know you locked in. Yeah, I know
Yeah.
you locked in because you know about this. You know that I think that was
Because
again. I think
Starberries. Did you ever wear Starberries?
no, I didn't.
I tried them on once. I never
Mhm.
owned a pair, but like there were those, and I think it was the Phenoms. I can't remember what the other one was.
Was it the Al Harrington
Yeah,
Protege?
the Protege. That's what it was.
Yeah.
I know it was a P. I just couldn't remember if it was a Phenom or it was
Yeah.
another word. Yeah.
Yeah. It was
Yeah.
like that inexpensive sneaker. Like it didn't matter that it was like a $15 sneaker. It was like, first of all, I wasn't wearing anything Knicks colored, and the Starberries were Knicks colored because that's still my rule. That's still my rule. I don't wear anything that's even Florida, like blue, orange, white. It's not happening. But the Starberries, like it didn't matter that they were $15. Like people were still rocking them and getting fists off, and like it was dope, right? Like
I mean, for like again, the upbringing of sneakers is different for us, but we still have those same experience. Like you speak about the Dadas, I'm not thinking about the player that you named. I'm thinking of 3-6 Mafia or Rod Spinners because that was like. That's why we like those shoes. That's why I like them. I'm thinking Rod Spinners. That was the shoe, but I didn't know that was Dadas. I just call them the spinner shoes. That's what we call them.
yeah,
And then you got your Tupac brand shoes that I feel like those are all the era where you
the
had like
Machiavellis.
yeah, you had a Notorious B.I.G. on the
Machiavelli.
shoe, the Scarface. I mean, Shoe Man. That was the Shoe Man era, you know.
Yeah.
I've heard people speak of like the Shoe Man, and from where I'm from, like North Carolina, right here in the South, like the Shoe Man, we didn't know that was fake until we knew they were fake. It wasn't like I went to a Shoe Man. Oh, I know them fake. Nah, it wasn't like that. It was like you ain't got these. That's what it was. You ain't got you like. That's what it was for us, you know. And then once we found out they were fake, it was like, all right, yeah, nah, bro, I ain't Shoe Man, nah, Shoe Man selling fakes. Them ain't real, bro.
Yeah.
But like before then, it was just like he got something I ain't never seen before. I need those, you know.
Yeah, that's what it was about. It was about having something that nobody else had, or like stuff that you couldn't even find in a store, right? Like, you can't even find these. Now it's about, oh, don't worry, everybody. Like, I got them too. Don't worry, everybody. I also got the Travis Scott ones. Yeah, right. Like, you know,
I thought I was gonna have to wear another pair of shoes.
and I think for me, like that was also, and I think you could speak to this too, Flex. Like for us in the South, like stepping to me was like a big thing. Like not, I ain't talking Greek stepping, but I'm talking like when you got some fresh shoes, like it was what the fit looked like. You know, like I mean, early 2000s, it was did you have a throwback to go with whatever shoe you were wearing? You know, whether it's baseball jersey, basketball jersey, hockey jersey, even back then, like. Fab was like big on that like throwback jerseys. It felt like he had like an unlimited supply of them joints. Like it was crazy, but I feel like for me, it's like in that era of just like you were seeing like 80s, 90s, 2000 early Y2K styles. Like that was a big thing. So like I think the impressionable part for me was I had that love for sneakers and I would geek out about it, but like the next thing in my mind was like, yo, I can't wait to put together a fit with these, or I can't wait to see what I can do with that. And I think now for me, like as an adult, like, you know, I don't get called Unk as much unless I'm hanging around like a much younger crowd than me. It's like I had one dude say, yo, appreciate you, Unk. I'm like, bro, I'm 30, like relax. Like I'm not there yet. 35, okay.
Look, I'm 32, bro, and I'm still like I'm getting the Unk, but I don't appreciate the Unk.
No, it's like we still know what's going on, bro. Like we ain't completely out the loop yet. Like I feel like we're close though. Like I feel like there's no so much.
I mean, like I feel like our ties to social media is what keeps us locked in with what's in, what's out, and it's not like we do it on purpose. It's just like. This is what I see. I'm doing content. I'm looking at other people's content, and you see that this is a new style, or this is a new trend. This is the new silhouette that's going, and that's why you take the offensive. But I feel like if we wouldn't tie to social media, we would like, I don't know what you're talking about. You can call me Unc. You know,
I'm gonna be real with you. Before I got on the social media, because I got on social media heavy. I started making content probably when I was about 29, 28, something like that. Yeah. And I didn't know what was going on. I got on social media so that I would know. and because I want to, tennis was becoming more of my full-time job, and I wanted to know what the hell these kids were talking about, and I wanted to connect with them more. And now it's like when I show them like, oh yeah, I know what I'm doing, I know what I'm talking about, they're like, yeah, how you know about that? How you know about that? You know what I'm saying? Like,
what you know about it?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, like, so like, funny story. Like, it's funny you say that. Like, I went to a career day and I was talking because like most people don't know, like, content creating isn't even my full time thing. I'm actually like a degreed engineer. Like, when the Georgia Tech graduated.
That's what I was gonna ask you. Yeah, what do you do? You go to you're
so
an engineer.
What I went to school for was like electrical engineering with like concentration in like embedded systems.
Yeah.
So for me, like, sneakers were always like a part of me, but it was like, I think that there's kind of that weird code switching thing that I'm sure you guys know about, where it's like, hey, I'm in certain environments, these conversation topics probably not going to be shared. So it's like, I would always think like, man, like, where's a good way for me to have my creative outlet outside of like physically where I work? So like, I go to a career day, me and my fiance do. So we go to this classroom and I'm telling them like, hey, it's important to go to school. You could be like me and be working and having a great career. And somehow or another, somebody finds my Instagram. I don't know how.
Every time, bro, it happens.
It was crazy because I immediately went to social media. I'm like, it has to be like that proximity search thing where like, because I'm in the room, like, they could find me as a suggestion. So somebody's like, yo, there's a person raised their hand. I'm thinking they're going to raise their hand and ask me a question about engineering because we're having a whole other conversation. He's like, Mr. Taylor, is this you? And they like points to the screen, and I'm like, I could see from there. I was like, yeah, that's my Instagram. He's like, yo, he's like, yo, he really put that stuff like, yo, like in like a whole group of them, just like around the phone.
But yo, that's how you connect, bro. Like, so when I do stuff like that, like I've gone into classes and talked to kids and stuff like that, and it's the reality of my story is like, when I graduated high school, I wasn't ready for college, so I went to the military. I used that experience to get me through, and my degree is in biology. I got a C in physics, by the way, with the electrical, like the engineering stuff, like circuits and all that other stuff, bro. That stuff is hard.
Yes, it is.
But anyway, I've gone and talked about that, but the teachers, because they know me already, they always, as soon as there's like a lull, right, when kids aren't asking questions and I'm not talking, they're always like, tell them how many pairs of shoes you have. I was like, all right, here we go. But that's cool. I think that's cool because it's like, okay, now we have that connection. Before that, you just another dude coming in and talking to them, right? Like, I think they need dudes who are into the same stuff that they're in, talking to them. Right,
like a few of them were like, I could see their eyes light up, and they're just like, bro, you got everything, like it was crazy, like, and then like after, like, they're like, yo, you follow us back on Instagram, and I'm like, I'm sure there's like a whole bunch of reasons why I shouldn't, but I was like, I'll look at my follow requests, I'll see what I can do. But it's like, but like you said, I think that it's been drilled into maybe even our heads too, like, there's like a divide between being culturally, aware and situationally aware versus being educated. Like, there's not an ability for you to have a foot in both worlds. Because it's like, hey, if you dress this way, you align with this element. And I feel like, I think what's so cool about what I do is that if you sit and have a conversation with me for more than 10 minutes and I'm like, talk to me about anything else other than shoes, it's like we could have a conversation. And I think that that's really, really cool, and I think I value that more because it's like, it's dimension, it's depth. It requires people to know more about you beyond just what they see on the surface. And
does it bother you when people just come up to you right away, even if they don't know you, right, and they just start talking about sneakers and they start talking about clothes and they start talking, like, they don't talk about anything else. Like, it's like, you got them
black and white Jordans. You got them black and white Jordans.
Like,
and it's I'm talking about people in your industry.
Yeah, I mean, I think that for me, I don't, surprisingly enough, it catches them by surprise. So like, I'm in my office and or I'm in my workplace and I dress one way, and then it's like, oh man, like, I actually go to real lengths to like not bring it up at work.
I love
Not
that.
because I'm ashamed
I
of it.
love that. Yeah.
Because it's like I like to just keep the two worlds separate.
Yeah.
But if they
Yeah.
do find out, because I mean, when you start to get 60, 70, 80, 90, 100K followers, it's like you're starting to kind of get to that place of being a public figure. So
Right.
searchable, people can find you. My profile's not private.
Yep.
So it's just kind of like what you signed up for. So you
It's a
can't get
surprise.
mad.
Yeah.
People
Exactly.
see you as that. So it's like, no, I don't really get mad about it. I think it started to happen to me more. Like we went to go get ice cream with my mom and my fiance, and like the lady was like, I follow you on Instagram. And she's like really excited about it. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. And we like kind of chopped it up for a minute. And she's like, oh yeah. And then like my friends was like, or my fiance and my mom was like, she give you a free scoop of ice cream. I'm like, no, I don't. Like, I don't try to use my powers for that. Like, I feel like it's just really cool to, like I said, I come from that generation of we meet people and we talk to people in real life. So to see people that follow me and like what I do and genuinely are cool with me about what I do, it's really cool. Like I'm grateful. I'm more in that grateful space, less than that. Oh, I'm him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't want to be.
So I was coaching a tennis match this year, and I remember the look on my face was probably like I look like a mean son of a you know what. I probably look mean because I was pissed off. You know, when I coach, I get very intense, and I'm loud, and so this mom from the other team comes up to me, and she goes, "Hey, I love the things that you say," and I thought she was talking about my coaching. I was like, oh, I appreciate that. And she said, the things that you talk about with sneakers, like, I love the things you say. Like, I got some of them New Balances. I got some of them Sauconys now. And I was like, oh, you talking about...
You talking about that more?
Like, you talking about sneakers? Man, I started... Bro, I got all giddy. I was giggling, bro. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, thank you. Like, I'm so happy. Like, I appreciate you watching. Bro, like, when those experiences happen, bro, like, it is the best. It's truly the best.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure Flex can talk to it too. It's like, especially in the South here where we're like really close knit. It's like we're like when I go to like releases, it's like, and I'm dabbing people, they're like, yo, I see your stuff on like this sneaker group, or I've seen you in an ad or something like that. Yo, like big respect for what you're doing. And it's like, I think that what's helped me be, as like relevant and continuing to move is just always just operate from that grateful space. Like I think the thing I always say is that, I'm confident enough to know that there's nobody like me, but I'm humble enough to understand that I could be replaced at any point. Like, it's not to say that I don't have faith in my abilities, but it's just like, Instagram is we have like 9 billion people on this planet, and let's say like a good greater percentage of them actually have the app and download it on their phone. I mean, it's pretty much smartphone capable. So it's like, there's probably 5 to 10,000 other TaylorMade GQ like accounts that are out there. Yeah. So it's like, confidence is, like, respect to them. If it's me versus them, I'm coming out on top every time, but it's like, all of us fill a role. And I think Wallow and even Gilly the Kid talked about that on their podcast. And they said, like, I think that what's lost now is like, in friend groups you had, like, you knew that guy that was like dope. Like, he all city, he's getting all the awards. Like, that's the guy, that's the athlete. So, and everybody's like, so how do we support him as a friend group? Like, how do we support him and do things like, maybe I'm into cars. So it's like, bet I help broker deals for his cars. Then I become an auto broker, but then I'm auto brokering deals for other celebrities because of the space that he's in. Like, so finding opportunities to get your lane, because we all aren't gifted to be 6'9", 260, like a Bron, or 6'6", Michael Jordan, like type of talent, charisma, marketability. So it's like, how do we operate in those spaces effectively and be like, hey, that's your lane, but I got my lane that's granted tangential to, or is adjacent to what you're doing, but then I got my own scalability of what I'm trying to do beyond just this moment and that time. So I try to always just, like you said, like, it's giddy because it's like, wow, like, something I do not for other people but for me makes other people feel good, and that makes me feel good. So 100%. That's like where the excitement comes in. So like, no, I identify with that.
I've never heard anybody articulate that as precise as you have. I think that's the reality of it.
It's a cool feeling. I mean, we share what we share because it's our creativity, but I think we never realize the impression that we make on other people. And I think I think in its purest form, that's what social media was made to do. I feel sad when people feel like social media is a detraction, or it makes them doubt themselves. It's like, no, bro, I think one of my friends broke this down to me. I thought it was a really, really cool understanding of social media. It's like 1,000 people in a room, right? Like if you have 1,000 followers, like most regular venues, like Applebee's, can't seat 1,000 people. It's more like probably 200 to 300. So that's about 4 Applebee's or 3.5 Applebee's worth of people coming to see whatever it is that you're talking about.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, then we just saw Travis Scott overseas, where he had like a concert of over like 60 to 70,000 people packed out in the stadium. So like, or forgive me if that number was incorrect. I'm sure it was something in the tens of thousands. So for all intents and purposes, let's say it's 70,000. Well, 70,000 people coming out and say, hey, I like what that guy does so much that I want to be up to date on everything that he does. Like, when you really think about that, like, that's really humbling. Like, you don't have to pay these people. They're here of their own volition, and they just really rock with what you do. Like, so you can't bully that out of me. I'm sorry. Like, if you don't think my outfit is cool, hey, don't waste the exercise with your thumb telling me how whack you think my fit is. Like, just swipe up.
Right. Thanks for the engagement. Thanks for the engagement. I mean, right. Truly.
Because if you got time, I got time. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
At first, when I first got on, and Flex, I'm interested to know your thoughts on this too. But when I first got on, I used to really get my feelings hurt, man, when people would like talk shit in my comments, and it was defeating. I'm like, bro, like I'm just trying to have a good time, you know. And then I started thinking about it, and I'm like, I don't care. Like, I don't care what people think about me in real life. I don't care what people think about me, like in these comments too. I think because at first it felt so vulnerable putting that piece of myself out there. Now I'm past it. But Flex, what did you have that same type of?
I mean, I come from bullying people. Like, you're not gonna little man me. You're not gonna little bro me. I don't care if you don't like me. Cool, go,
man. And I'll tell you what. Now that you say that, bro, I've tried. Like, I've tried to like, not in like a mean way, but like as a way to like, you know, crack jokes. And never once do I feel like I ever got underneath your skin.
Yeah, I mean, because it was like, bro, I got a whole life. Like, the only time I seen Morgan was when I opened my phone. There's no way that you're finna upset me.
I ain't like how you said that, bro. I ain't like how you said that, bro.
You are now. I'm talking about before. I'm talking about when we first started connecting. You know, when you were really,
I know what you mean.
used to say things that you were trying to get under my skin. You know, and I didn't see it as like, oh, he's trying to be funny. You know, and that's how I do my everyday life. If someone at work doesn't like me, I see you at work. The only person I care that, like, if you like me or not, are the people that I live with. My daughter, my girl, like, now I care if they don't, because every day I'm interacting with them. So my daughter's opinion of me is what matters. If she think I'm the strongest man in the world, hey, I'm happy. That makes me feel good. I could care less what, you know, somebody on Instagram or someone here at the gym thinks. That's what matters. And I've always been like that. So me creating content, it was easy to find my lane because I wasn't afraid to experiment. Like, I didn't come in like trying to dress like anyone else. When I did my Get Ready With Me videos, it was like, okay, I can tell that that's not everyday TikTok dressing. That's really how he dresses.
That's real life.
Yeah.
Like, this man is about to go touch grass.
Yeah, you know, and that's how I really found my lane. And then that's how I came across other pages like TaylorMade. Like, oh, I like that. Like, I didn't know you could put that together and you like actually wear it out. Because a lot of these fit that people put on, like, there's no way you're going sitting down and your jacket's like this and your pants are like this. I can't imagine going somewhere and someone got on some like somebody got some glasses on this big, and they're like, "Yeah, can I get a number 3?" I'll be like, "All right."
And you know what's funny? Like it gets worse as you start to get more recognition. Like you would think it's the inverse, right? So like when you're starting out, like that's when all the bottom feeders and people are like, you know, trying to get at you, but it gets worse as you get more. Like I've had people message me like say things like, "Bro, there ain't nothing big about you. I could tell by your videos you're short." And it's just like, oh, I was like, I mean, like, bro, like some of this, like,
Oh,
I
yeah,
mean,
that
I had
is
a
weird.
Dude, yeah, I've had a dude like say something to me like where I was doing like I had Yeezys, like, you know, because I use all the shoes in my collection, not just hype rotation.
What's
so
hot?
Like,
yeah.
like he was like, so why are you wearing, you know, a company that's consistently, I think taking advantage of? Y'all probably can know the synonym of
I
what
got
I'm
you.
saying.
All good.
And it was like, and I said, well, first of all, bro, like these were releases prior to their departure, and secondly, if it bothers you that much, you can just say, hey, there's a button that says not. I literally took a screenshot of the button. I said it says not interested, and I circled it. I was like, you can tap that, and then you never have to worry about that again. But it's like I feel like some people, it really, for them, that's what gets them going. Like they want their opinion to matter to you so much that you stop your day to talk to them. And it's like, listen, bro, you want to be miserable on your own time. Like, listen, I drop my content off and I go. Like, like you do not occupy real estate in my mind enough for me, like, to do stuff. Now, if you get crazy and try to start talking stuff, my block finger, this one, works very, very well. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't like, to me, it's like, I think that's like the mature aspect of me. Like, younger me would probably go back and forth with you because I just, at times.
Yeah, but that's all of us though, man. Same here. I used to go back and forth like crazy, and now it's like,
it's like,
I don't care.
And you start to think about things like all of that's on display. So like that interaction is forever cemented on the internet. So like
you don't win. You might think you're winning, right? Like I showed him, but no, you look like an asshole too.
Yeah, and it's like, and that's the funny thing with trolls. Then it becomes, he's bullying me. Look how many followers he has.
Yeah.
Like when you start, like it's
I've dealt with that. Yep.
Yeah, like that reverse psychology flip suplex is crazy. But you know, that's where I think that when the larger your following is, much more you have much more responsibility beyond just creating dope content. It's like you're now a community builder. Like that sounds like a badge on Xbox, right? Like, oh, community builder. It's like, but I mean, but for real, it's like that. It's like you're responsible for curating culture, and it's like what type of curator do you want to be?
Man, I say it all the time on TikTok, man. I say like we have a responsibility because, you know, on TikTok, I don't know how much time do you spend on TikTok?
I probably have scrolled like unhealthy amounts of hours just looking at videos and things this week. Like probably 4 or 5 hours at least.
I got you. So a lot of the sneaker people on TikTok are talking. I mean, they're not getting the views anymore, and so they're talking about, oh well, you know, people just don't want to buy sneakers anymore. Sneakerheads are getting whatever, and they're bashing the audience for why their videos aren't doing well. And so one of the things that me and Flex have said is that, and we kind of say it in different ways, I think, if I remember correctly, but that we have a responsibility to keep the culture going. And the other TikTok sneakerheads don't feel that way. They feel like, I mean, Flex has said like, Flex has this analogy that they've been given followers, right? Like they got blessed, you get blessed with followers, and now that they have to put in some work, they're shifting gears. And you know, it's just like you said, I have that same belief, like it is our job, and I'm at 29,000 TikTok followers and I'm steadily going down. But like even there, I feel like I have a job. I've got a responsibility of keeping the culture going. And at 29,000 followers, I feel like somebody with 100,000+ followers should have that same mentality, right?
Absolutely.
They should. But I mean, I think it goes back to what I think you guys, because in episodes y'all talked about it before. It's like sneakers and the world have just become transactional. You very rarely do I run across people and I say very rarely, not to say that they don't exist, but it's like really genuine spaces. Like I was mad, I missed the Black footwear forum that was held up this year in Detroit. I really wanted to go, but I definitely said I'm going to go next year. But it's like those types of events, like places where you're in spaces with like-minded people. It's like, I think that those are things where it's like you can go to those events, network, and you could bring something back to your home base. You could really actually build on it. But I think, again, that's community builder mindset, you know, networking to learn and to grow, not to look in this, I got 60,000 followers. So what you got to teach me? It's like, that's not really a mindset of advancing yourself forward. So no, I mean, I think that the pandemic really shifted people's minds. We were consuming and we were spending money in a way that we had never spent money before. PPP loans were out there, so folks were definitely consuming a lot more. We were getting stimmy checks. There was a lot of things happening during that time that were like unsustainable hyper consumerism. Like I think that, and I think that people made they conflated, this is the way it was going to be forever. It was never going to be that way forever.
Looking back, it was very, very, even though it felt like forever, it was a very, very small portion of our lives.
We were in that.
On top of that, it's a sense of individualism that wasn't great, right? Where it's like, it's all about me. Like, it's like, and that's what we had to do to survive. Right. Like there was really no in-person community. Everything, it was either your community was online if you had one, or it was like, it's me, like I am staying by myself. And we kind of see how that is affecting what's going on social media now, you know, with the sneakers and all that other stuff.
Agreed. Yeah. I mean, I think it's up to those of us that really love it to continue to keep pushing it. Like I said, keep educating. That, like you mentioned Kari before. I got to give him his flowers. I think he does a very, very good job of just being a great, like really, really helping people understand why releases are significant, why they're important. I mean, you guys' platform, again, having people that are knowledgeable to come on here and talk and tell their stories, but then also just have good discourse. Like I think that's what I miss. I think that like the Nike Talk forums of the past and everything else like that, that's really where people interacted and talked. I mean, how car forums are now, like that's what Nike Talk was. You know, that's what a lot of these other rooms were in the AIM days and everything else was. You know, but you know, hopefully it gets back better. It gets back better.
I feel like it will. I mean, just from like my transition from, I ain't gonna say my transition, but like my focus is more on Instagram and the Soul Brothers podcast now than it was TikTok. Same. And now that I look at the engagement, I question like how I have 37,000 followers on TikTok and I have a little over 1,300 on Instagram. The engagement and the impact that I get from my 1,300 is insane compared to my 37,000. Of course, I had people that were coming on other videos like, hey, this is, you know, Flex did this and that. But the conversations that I'm part of now from my Instagram and the Soul Brothers podcast, it's like the reward is 20 times, 100 times
100%
more significant than it was TikTok, you know, because I'm part of conversations that I never thought I'd be part of. I'm talking with people I never thought that I would have conversations with, and it's setting me up and opening doors for, you know, 2025. Like I have stuff lined up that I can do, that I can put in place, as to where TikTok was kind of like, you know, we always say that you don't want a job where you're just there for the check. That's kind of what TikTok started becoming. It was like, I'm here for the check. Yeah, I'm here for that brand deal that I'm going to get because I have 37 followers, 37,000. Not because of the conversation that me and Morgan had on the last episode of Soul Brothers. You know, that feels more genuine because that's more me. When we have these
that's what we're here for. That's what we're here for. We're here to have these conversations, and we're here to engage the community and engage with the community.
Absolutely.
So, bro, we got to have you back on this. We got to have you back on the
bro,
episode,
like,
for sure.
This is stuff I love to do. Like, I really I think like when you talk about like romanticizing like fashion sneakers and everything else like that, like I think I have a lot of people that ask me stuff like, bro, how can I do this like you? It's like, to be honest, and I don't say this to be condescending or to kind of paint a bleak picture, but it's like, when I get off of this live, I'm probably going to put together 2 or 3 more outfits to prepare for next week.
Yeah.
Like when you understand, like, I'm always thinking,
Absolutely.
like it's always there, you know.
Yep.
And it's like, and for some people, it's like, yo, you post almost every day this week. It's like, but that's a brand. I feel like a Denzel in American Gangster. It's a brand name, like, but I mean, but for real, it's really, it's a consistency that people come to respect. And it's like, and like Flex, you know, we've known each other for a minute, just never been in a space where we could really talk and chat this up. Like Morgan, I think we've kind of known each other probably in the by and by, but probably never had like a minute to really sit and chop it up.
Yeah,
but,
for sure. Like I see you post things. I think you're in that sneaker group. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, Jay Will,
Jay Will's. Like I've seen you post things in there. So yeah.
So it's like, I mean, I think for me, it's like, it's one of those types of things where it's like the MJ commercial where it's just like, you know, could you handle doing this for a day? Like, could you understand what it means to do this for a day? Like, I think like people have always been asking, yo, like, can you show us like what your day looks like? Like a day for me, like my whole living room floor is covered with like, and it's literally like a big sketch pad. It's like, okay, I tried this didn't really work. Okay, scrap that. Let's try this other thing. And I think that's that level of dedication to anything. It's like, they always say that, you know, genius or being really good at something is like almost like the line or the knife's edge of being obsessed with it and very, very knowledgeable of it. And I feel like for me, sometimes like I definitely lean into the obsessive side. If I'm like, yo, I'm doing this like 3, 4, 5 times. It's like, when am I going to shoot these outfits? I don't know, but you know, they're here if I ever need them. It's like, but I think, man, like anybody that likes to do stuff like this, like, that's what it takes.
No, the creating part is definitely rewarding.
For sure. Let's go ahead. Let's get into our showcase sneakers. I'm very interested to see what you have. But Flex, go ahead, brother. Show us what you got.
I will start us off. For the listeners, I said I was going to restart my showcase simply because I haven't been keeping track of what I've been showing, so I didn't know what I was showing or not. So I will kind of go back and forth with myself. But now I'm keeping track. But I'm pretty sure I've shown these before. What I went with today was the Street Hawker Nike SB. This is where I have an issue with Nike, because this shoe does a lot of storytelling. There's a lot of details that and a lot of nods to like the culture of like Chinese food and
street food.
And like a lot of people don't know that, you know. I mean, like you got the wood for the chopstick, you got this blue for like the porcelain plates and stuff. I mean, there's so many. You got I think the designer was Jason Ding or Dang, you know, correct me if I'm wrong. And like you got the watercolors of his art. Like there's so much in the shoe that could have been talked about, that could have made it seem more, you know, sought after. And I feel like the only reason why it was sought after when it did release, it was because it was a Nike SB. That was, you know, and that was like the, you know, the shoe at the time. But I love this pair. I mean, I've definitely grown to love it even more the more I wear it. And I come from an era where the mismatch of like the shoe was a big thing. So like whenever I see a what the, or if I see like a mix, it's like that's that nostalgia feeling for me. It's like, oh wait, I gotta get that. Or I see a pack, like a Jordan pack or something, I gotta get that, because it's that's what really made me fall in love with sneakers. You know, when I was falling in love with sneakers, that was the thing, that what the mismatch. But yeah, Street Hawkers, Nike SB.
Very smooth. I got the AE. This is my favorite new model. We're talking about how Nike isn't spending enough time on R&D and creating new things, but I got the Slime AE1 Low. I hate this color of green. Hate this color of green. I feel like it's like what a 12-year-old would wear. Have a whole outfit, socks, shorts, shirt, this color green, but I don't know what it is, but this is just such a fire shoe. So yeah, AE1 Low Slime.
I feel like I mean the AE1 has to be in the sneaker of the year conversation. I think just everything it's been doing, how it's been working is good. So my pair is actually one that I just came up on. Shouts out to Soulplay ATL for giving me these and allowing me to do content. So I'm doing the Tekken Full Profits.
Very nice.
I need them.
So this is the Kazuya Mishima colorway. So if you pay attention to the shoe, it has a gradient, so you can see it's more like a navy, purple, almost teal type of color. So you know anything about Tekken, you know Kazuya was definitely like the first video game sneakerhead of the Tekken series. So it's like it's crazy that he ended up getting a foam posit. I mean, aside from foam posits being like a very, very expensive mold for Nike, I think just the way that they merged gaming with an actual shoe that had like so much history in it. I definitely have this in my sneaker of the year conversation as well, because I think it was just a unique first. The launch of Tekken 8, the Easter eggs on the bottoms of the shoes, the box, the packaging, the storytelling, how Nike chose to release it, leading into that AI virtual world. I love this shoe. Like when I picked it up, I really couldn't put it down for like a good few minutes, because I was just like every single time I looked at it, I found a new detail. Like even like the aglets, like the actual pins of the shoe, metal. You know, the embossing of the penny logo on the back heel. I mean, other things like the 8 for Tekken 8. I mean, I think when you look at this shoe, it's just so many good details. I mean, even the fact that it's a 1 and that mini swoosh that's up here is like actually metal. So it's like, it's not even a regular, like, I guess you could say plastic. It's like, it looks like it's almost like the same material of this aglet. So like, I love this shoe, man. Like I did a fit with it. I wore it to the actual Tekken Throwdown. That was the gaming event that was happening at Soul Play. Got so many compliments on it. I really, really love I really, really love the shoe. It's not leaving my collection anytime soon. And it's definitely in my conversation of sneaker of the year this year.
So let me ask you a question. I see how you've got them laced now, but are you loose lacing? Are you loose lacing, or are you lacing them up?
Oh, so these are loose. Like if I'm walking around. So funny thing is, like when I hoop, I typically hoop with LeBron's. Actually, I had a chance to get a pair of AEs. And I just missed it because every time they stock at Lennox, they like fly. So I can never actually get them in my size. So, but foams I've always loose laced. Probably a nod to Wale, because like I remember watching.
There we go.
Watching Wale wear foams like back in the the mixtape Wale days. That was a big thing. I mean, I remember just seeing Wale in different complex articles or write-ups or pressers. It's like he had the perfect sample size foot for Nike. So every single time there was a good foam that came out or a new exclusive foam, he always had it. So I'll be real. I wasn't like necessarily like a foam head where every single foam color that came out. I'm definitely a big foam posit one guy. I do like certain variants of pros. So the pearls, I think, is probably one of my favorites, but like the pearlescent pink, or like the metallic red, obviously the OG royal blue, metallic red, and the galaxies. But when I talk about probably top 4, I say top 4 foams to ever release. This I think is probably, I think we've not seen foam hype like this since the galaxies. Just as even in terms of like exclusivity of release, like remember, you had to be in Orlando to get those foams. If you were not down there, you weren't getting them. And I think like how Nike is doing it, where every gaming event where they're doing anything Tekken oriented, there's a chance for people to get these. I think like the box and the packaging, we talked about stuff with the Air Jordan 11s. They went to town. They did a great job of the packaging and everything else. Yeah, I mean, my top 4, I mean, when you think about it, I mean, obviously you're going to have the OGs in there because they're the OGs. The Paranorman foams, I think, is definitely another good one that you got to talk about. Another limited period.
Where do you rank this one as far as with the Paranorman? Better or
I've
worse?
never held a pair of Galaxies, so it's like I would have to probably hold a pair of Galaxies to see. Nostalgic wise, I would have to put the Galaxies ahead of these just because of what it did for sneaker. I think that was like the peak of like Nike basketball sneaker culture. So I definitely think you got to have it either 2 or 3. I personally have it as number 2. I put the Paranormans probably number 4, and I'd have these as number 3. I think it's something about the iridescence and how this shoe looks and the storytelling. I think this is definitely a top 4, top 5 foam positive of all time. I mean, the foam heads that probably listen to this episode will probably cuss me out in the DMs. Like, there are so many other ones you could have picked, but I just feel like, I mean,
they are.
And here's what they're gonna. But here's what they're gonna. They're just gonna name random ones like that they don't think are better. They're like, the cough drops, bro. How do you forget the cough drops? How do you forget the eggplants? I mean, what about the eggplants?
I mean, and to me, like, and this is where I would say, like, this shoe pretty much embodies, I could say, arguably, you could say this embodies the eggplants because of the grading.
I agree. Yep.
I feel like you have, I mean, the cough drops, okay. I mean, coppers, are out there.
Shooters.
I mean, I'm not talking to DMV cherry blossoms. I'm talking to the original coppers. I mean, the pine greens or gym greens, which are the House of Hoops exclusive. I mean, there's a lot of different ways you can go, but still, if we're talking OG colorways and not including collabs, fine. Okay. That's a separate conversation. And I feel like I'm gonna be, like I said, with the exception of the Pearl, Foam Posit Pros and maybe like a few others. Like, I mean, you got the Gone Fishing foams that were ones. I just forgot about those with the netting.
Yeah.
Very, very well packaged, very, very well done. So like, I think it just depends on where you are, but I think with these, because of the limitedness of them, again, it's the first time that we're seeing Nike really interfacing with the gaming community, which with Twitch and everything emerging right now, it's just zeitgeist shoe. I think they just really caught lightning in a bottle with this. So very clean.
I agree for sure. I wore the. Go ahead.
I definitely put those up there simply because what Tekken means to me. Tekken was a big part of my childhood. Like I said, late 90s, early 2000s, I was into gaming. And this was Tekken was like for the people that were getting into gaming, Tekken was that Mortal Kombat. Because like Mortal Kombat caught a lot of like early, people that really into fighting games, that was their game, Because my brother, he was really into Mortal Kombat. So we would bond over Tekken because like Tekken was my Mortal Kombat, and he would show me, because he still had his Sega Dreamcast, and not Sega Dreamcast, his Sega Genesis, and they had Mortal Kombat on that. So like once you seen, because Tekken had like the graphics, Mortal Kombat was more like 2D and chopped up, and then you see Tekken, it's kind of like, oh, like that's really dope. So for me, when you collect the sneakers, you never think of these collaborations that we're seeing now. When you see his designer brands, we're seeing Prada and Gucci and Dior. Like those were things that I'm telling you, if you told me that 2010, 09 that there's gonna be an Air Jordan 1 and Dior, like I would be like, yeah, those fake, bro. You getting them from the shoe man. If you telling me
shoe man.
You tell me you got a Tekken Foam Posit, bro, them fake, them ain't real. You know what I'm saying? Like those that's part of history. Part of like history. That's why I wouldn't put it in my top 5, but as for me, that's definitely going to be a foam posit I got to get in my collection. That's going to mean a lot to me. It's going to be my centerpiece, my conversation. Right. Like, have you ever seen a Tekken foam posit? Just because of what it means to me and what it means to the sneaker culture. Because like you said, this is the first time we're seeing Nike and the gaming all come together, and we're creating a new norm, because there's going to be another one. There's going to be someone else. Adidas going to do something with someone. Puma's going to do something with someone, and it's going to create a whole thing to where 10, 12 years ago we would have never thought this would have happened. Well,
100%. 100%. I was gonna say I just wore some foam posit pros yesterday. I wore the gym greens. Which did they? did they sit? They weren't very popular when those came out.
Nope.
People were not feeling those, but now that I look back,
yeah, okay.
Yeah, now that I look back, I was actually kind of fire.
No, I think Nike's done other like gaming collabs. I want to say that they did something, I think, with Street Fighter at one point. I think with like an Air Force One, if I'm not mistaken. But I think like for the most part, yeah, I think that for me, it was just like when you think of a Tekken foam posit, I mean, if you think of the Weatherman foams, the whole big Doppler radar thing, it's just like, I think this was just, like I said, it was a really subtle nod, something that was in the game, and it's something unique to Tekken 8. So it's like, I like the fact that there's really no Tekken signage on the upper anywhere else. The only thing is on the jewel, on the actual tongue, you actually could tell it's related to the game. So I think things like that to me show attention to detail from design. Again, stuff we geek out about.
Yep.
So I'm really excited to see what else they do. Again, I feel like I'll die on that hill if somebody wanted to debate me about those. I think that it's a really well constructed and really well thought out design shoes. So
absolutely.
Shouts out to Nike.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, guys, that has been a great episode. TaylorMade, we appreciate you coming on and sharing your knowledge and your love for sneakers and fashion as well. Guys, any closing remarks?
Nah, of course, like always, appreciate having you on. As soon as we get done, I gotta go to the Instagram and like really do some research on what you're doing with the outfits.
You won't regret it, I promise you.
I mean, and I think the only thing I would say to anybody listening is, I think the whole saying of love what you do and do what you love it sounds good, but just understand that when you're doing what you love, it still takes work and dedication. Don't cheat it. Like if you're serious about content creation, just put the time in and get around people that's gonna keep you accountable, because that's gonna help you advance and get to the next level.
Yeah,
I like it.
Love
it. That's how we're gonna end it, guys. Another episode, and as always, love, peace, and sneakers.
So brothers, retro 3s, Metallic 7, retro 11, sitting on freeze. They got so